Good day, we are live. Welcome to the 360 Live. It's the 17th of January. And as I'm going live, I just remembered now that I'm supposed to let my wife know to pick up my boy from school after his cricket trial. So bear with me for 1 second. Apologies for this. I think she thinks that I'm fetching him, and I'm just letting her know that that I'm not picking him up, but she's got to do it. Just a little bit of a misunderstanding in the Villiers household today on this beautiful Saturday morning. It's a little bit overcast over here in South Africa, but there's lots happening. Cricket trials for my 8-year-old. He's turning 9 this year, and he's starting to play hardball cricket this year. So he's got his pads, his thigh pad, helmet, everything packed up this morning, and I dropped him off at school. And on the way there, he was very quiet, and halfway to the school, I asked him, "Is everything okay? Are you a bit nervous?" And all he did was he just nodded. Shame. Yeah, the expectation phase of my youngster coming through and realizing that it's just not another net session and a softball mini cricket match, but now it's actually there are eyes on him and he's expected to perform. And it's now during this phase that I'm going to start explaining to him that the biggest expectation and the biggest worry of nerves and feeling like you have to perform comes from yourself, and it's not so much from your parents and other people. So always try and manage that inner expectation and sort of try and embrace it to a certain extent. Yes, we all want to do well and succeed and do well in life, and every time you have cricket trials or an exam, you want to do well and you want to show to yourself. Well, actually, you think it's other people, but it's actually the expectation you put on yourself. And that's the kind of message that I will try and get across. Hopefully, he's done well. We'll find out. But my wife's given me the thumbs up, so she will fetch him. Back to the 360 Live. Guys, thanks for joining me. As per usual, you know the story. Post your questions down below, as many as you want, in the descriptions box, and we'll cover as many as possible. We have a few nice topics today, as there's been a lot of cricket going on, which is always exciting. I absolutely love it when there's lots of cricket happening. ABD, lots of support from Durban. Thank you. I'm pretty sure you're not so happy with your team in the SA20 this year, and this will also be the first topic, the SA20. It's been phenomenal so far as we pull up that log there, and your team right at the bottom of the log. So thanks for joining me on the 360 Live. But it's the craziest thing in the T20 format, right? In my opinion, the two strongest teams on the score sheet, not on the score sheet, on the team lists, are bottom of the log. Cape Town and DSG, Durban Super Giants, the two strongest teams on paper, right at the bottom of the log, with 2 and 3 out of 9 games won. Absolutely crazy. When you go through the team sheets, guys, and do yourself a favor, go find those team sheets on Google and just go through the Cape Town team. And it's like an international team. And DSG, I mean, looking at that squad as well, it's also an international side. In my opinion, there's just very few flaws. Lots of players from the Proteas setup, from Afghanistan, from all over the world, the West Indies, you name it, New Zealand, and the list goes on. It's just, I can't explain why they are bottom of the log. And it's the beauty of sport at the end of the day, but also the T20 format. It can be a bit of a gamble sometimes, and it allows for individual brilliance to take the game away from superstar teams. And that's exactly what's happened. And it shows you also the chemistry and the team spirit of a side that understand their roles better than others. Even though the other team looks a lot better on paper, the team chemistry and the understanding of roles and the way they work together and take turns in performance or performing is a lot more powerful than a team that just looks good on paper. And it is really, really special to see. And that's where coaching comes in. I've always been sort of the opinion that a coach in cricket can't do too much. But I seem to be wrong there. I've changed my mind a few years back, actually, already, knowing that now a coach's job is to get the dynamic of the team right and the clear communication in helping the youngsters, the mid sort of age guys, and also the experienced players to understand exactly what their role is in the team. and not only from a performance point of view, but off the field as well. Where do we all fit in? If you have a squad of 15, what is my role? If I'm not playing, what do I do on the side of the field, and where do I fit in? So all those factors play a role at the end of the day to see the teams perform and get them at the top of the table. And that's for the Paarl Royals, Sunrisers, Eastern Cape. Sunrisers, Eastern Cape, year in and year out, when I look at the team sheet, I feel they are definitely bottom of the loggers, between 4 and 6. That's where they're going to end up. But they've won 2 seasons already. They win the mix again in season 3, and here they are in season 4 again, top of the log. Well, sort of join top of the loggers alongside Paarl Royals. Pretoria Capitals have had a trend of being very inconsistent. They're lying 3rd at the moment, and once again got themselves into a spot of bother initially in the tournament. Thankfully fought back. Didn't have a great performance in the last game where they lost to Paarl Royals, with Otniel Baartman getting a FIFO, which also raised a lot of eyebrows because he's not in that World Cup squad. There's the best bowling performances of the SA20 in the past. 6 for 20 there for Roel van der Merwe, 5 for 10. Delana Potgieter, Noor Ahmed. It's been a bit quiet in the DSG camp this year. But in 2024, he got a 5 for 11. And there's Otniel Baartman, guys. Every single SA20 season, he does well. And he's right there at the top of the list when it comes to bowling performances. Another 5 for there, which was the undoing of the Capitals in that last game. I just referred to that. Just quickly back to the Pretoria Capitals. Very happy to see them qualifying for the knockouts. It won't be easy. I don't think they can. Actually, they can with a bonus point win and with a favour from the Paarl Royals and also the Sunrisers. They can maybe get to the top spot, which we know is a big incentive. Finishing top 2 gives you a little bit of insurance with that knockout match. So very nice comeback from Pretoria Capitals, as it looked a little bit like past seasons, inconsistent, but hopefully they will find a great form going into the last phase of this tournament. And then for JSK, the bottom 3, it's all to play for. I mean, if JSK gets one more win, they will qualify. But my Cape Town and DSG will hope they stumble over the next 2 games and also perform from a my Cape Town and DSG's point of view. So lots to play for there at the bottom of the log. We only will have one more team qualifying out of 3. And then it's a lot of exciting cricket to look forward to. As guys, this SA20 league has been absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if you agree with me. If you don't, please let me know. But I just feel the quality of cricket is really, really high. And I've really enjoyed watching some of the games. Some really big sixes, some great bowling performances, great fielding. And the crowds have been full. The stands have been filled up and the atmosphere is just electric. I've been to one live game at Centurion, and I will join the commentary team in the knockout phase of this tournament. So I'll be going to Durban for that first knockout game, and very much looking forward to that. But we'll wait and see who will play who in the knockout stages. There's 2 games today, so we'll find out a lot today, as the Pretoria Capitals will be playing today. And hopefully for them, they'll have a good game and give themselves the best possible opportunity to finish top 2, which will be great. Just quickly back to the Otniel Baartman discussion. So there's lots of questions and lots of controversy about this. Why did South Africa announce their squad so early? That's for the World Cup now, knowing that the SA20 is going to take place. And my answer to that is they've had their trial sessions over the last 6 months. They played a lot of cricket in the subcontinent. And I think for Shukri Conrad, that was maybe he didn't want the temptation of the SA20 and players coming here in South African conditions, performing well and sort of just screwing with his mind. I think he took to heart the subcontinent cricket, knowing that the World Cup will take place there, and decided, I don't care what happens in the SA20. What I'm going to do is going to pick players in form that played well over there in those conditions, because that's where the T20 World Cup will take place. I'm going to set my mind to it. I'm going to make the final decision, and that will be my squad. And the squad players will have an opportunity to build on their form in the SA20 tournament. It's not a bad call. I feel the problem with that is players can lose form throughout the SA20. But then again, I think once again, it comes down to communication from the coach and saying to the players, you are the informed players in the subcontinent conditions. Go and fine-tune your game in the SA20, but I don't care if you don't do too well, because I know that you have good form over there in the subcontinent, and going there, we will sort of reinstate your form once we go there. So yes, obviously you are limited with spots in the World Cup. Also, the balance is crucial. So lots of things went into his planning, and I'm not completely against him announcing the squad that early. It's different for other squads, perhaps squads that are playing in the subcontinent right now. I think sort of still fine-tuning that. We know New Zealand's playing over there in India at the moment, and it's a good opportunity for that coach, seeing what kind of fringe players will be ideal for them to take over if they do get injuries in the World Cup. All right, quick question here. Omission of Stubbs from the World Cup squad. Do you think it'll be in his mind every time he goes out to bat? And how bad does it affect a player's game? I think so. There are a few of them. Also, Rickleton, for instance, who didn't make that squad, very motivated in this SA20. And that's been my answer to a lot of players. It's not a lot of players, a lot of people that ask me, why is someone like Rickleton not in the World Cup squad? And my answer to that is, first of all, he was up against Quinton de Kock, who sort of came back from retirement and outperformed Rickleton in the subcontinent in the trial sessions that they had there. And now it's the SA20. Now, Quinny still seems to be in good form. And all of a sudden, with Rickleton scoring 100 and doing really well, 200s, I think, all of a sudden now everyone's talking about that. But guys, it's South African conditions, and it's left a little bit too late. But it's still good to have him in form. If there is an injury, he can always come in. And the other guy that doesn't really compete with him, in my opinion, is Donovan Ferreira, who bats in the middle order. He was picked as a power hitter and a guy who can also bowl, get you wickets. So now what's nice about that selection is you have two completely different wicket keepers. The one is a wicket keeper batter. The other one is a wicket keeper power hitter and also gives you bowling option. So Rickleton, Quinton de Kock, like for like. You don't really want two exactly similar kind of make-up players over there. So if Quinny, for instance, loses form in the World Cup or he gets injured, now it's such a great addition to have. You bring Donovan Ferreira in, you overs with the ball in hand, he's good in the field, and he's a power hitter. So now you can play a specialist opener in Quinny's spot and slide Donovan Ferreira into the middle overs. Long and the short is both of them can still play together as well, as they're different players. It's not like for like. So really good selection in my opinion. Nothing against Rickleton. I think he's a world-class player who's going to win a lot of games for South Africa in the future still. Obviously would have hurt a lot not being in that squad, and scoring runs now is confusing everyone. But I want to remind everyone that it's not a like for like in that World Cup squad. And secondly, they're playing in South African conditions now, and you can't compare that to playing in the subcontinent, and that's where the World Cup is going to take place. All right. I think that's it from SA20. Maybe one more. I've got an Afrikaans question here. It was a great honor to meet you on Monday at the game. One of my highlights. I remember you coming in and meeting me. My question is, do you think Dewald Brevis can change his batting to perhaps spend a bit more time at the crease? Yeah, I think that's the question. So, I mean, you guys know by now that I often speak to him, not so often in the last couple of weeks. I'll check in with him again. We always talk about changing gears, and exactly that. The problem with Brevi this year is he's been pushed down the order. There's just no time there, guys. He's been pushed into a power hitting role, and I don't think he's that kind of player. So it's difficult to say. Obviously, stats come through, and you have analysts that study your past performances, and that's the problem here. And it was similar for me throughout my career. I've really covered this topic, and I want to cover it again. During the back end of my IPL career, the last 5 years, I always thought that getting a bit older, give me a bit more time. Bat me at 3, for instance, or even let me open the batting so that I can have a bit more freedom. That energy and the complete fitness of sprinting around like a lunatic out there is not there anymore. But they always pushed me down the order. I even batted at 5 for one season at the back end of my career because the analyst said my stats are based between overs 12 and 20. And maybe that is accurate. But you'd never know what would happen if I had the opportunity to build a base between overs 3 and 7, for instance, and get to a 20 or 15 balls And now I can start accelerating and still bat between overs 12 and 20 and maybe even be a bit more dangerous. But now they sort of kept me back. They had me floating between positions 3 and 5. So if we had a really good start and the openers batted to overs 10, I would slot in at 3 because that's where they wanted me to bat. But that takes away a lot of freedom for a batter and almost the human side of the batter. I always wanted to feel like I also have the freedom to get myself into an innings, you know. So that's what they took away from Dewald Brevis. And the problem with that is it brings in inconsistency, guys. And it also confuses a young mind. So in my opinion, and I've said it before, Dewald Brevis should always bat in the top order. I would say at the very lowest at 3. Give the guy an opportunity to sometimes come in the third over and also feel like, you know what, I can just play normal cricket sometimes. And that's the biggest power with that is you take away a lot of the expectation from him. Now he's batting between overs 10 and 20. The whole crowd is expecting fireworks from ball 1. His coach and his analyst are telling him that's where your stats are best. Your strike rate is 200 and you average 40, for instance. And now that's in your mind. So I've got to average 40 with a strike rate of 200 every single time I bat. Between overs 10 and 20, there's no time to get yourself in. All the fielders are out. You have 5 on the boundary. Guys, it's a tough ask. And I think that's what he's fighting right now. So I wish coaches would give him that opportunity to bat in the top order again. I felt that kind of pressure. It's not nice, believe me, that kind of expectation to be consistent between overs 10 and 20. I believe you have to take the expectation out of play. Forget about the stats. Like for a Donovan Ferreira, it doesn't look to me like he's worried about the stats too much. His coach probably just tells him when you go into bat, see the ball and hit it and just have fun out there. That sometimes is the best message to get. All right, that's enough of that. Hopefully we'll see Brevis in the top order again. They've pushed him way too late, in my opinion, in this tournament. And unfortunately, he's been inconsistent. But it's not all done and dusted. There's still time. Hopefully they will hear this message. Not that they'll do anything about it, but there's still time for Brevis to sort of get that consistency going towards the back end of the tournament. Pretoria Capitals are still in the mix, and hopefully they will end on a high note as I join the commentary team soon. All right, guys, let's move on to the next topic. That is India, New Zealand. As we know, it's 1-1. Tomorrow will be the decider of the ODI series. We've seen Virat in good form. Also, Rohit sort of chipping in here and there. But I think the standout player in the series so far with bat in hand has been Daryl Mitchell from New Zealand. Now, he has showed form in the past over there in India. I think he likes the slower conditions. He's a bit of a grinder. I love the way he plays. He really sort of guides the top 6. He bats in tricky situations sometimes in the middle overs. Sometimes he comes in really early, depending on what happens. And he seems to have all the tools to counter any situation that he's confronted with. And I love players like that. So well done to him. We'll see how they perform in the third ODI, guys. That is an indoor. It is tomorrow. Let me know what you think of the series. As we know, there's a World Cup around the corner. This year will be all about fine-tuning that squad. It's great to see Virat and Rohit in fine form. They will want more of that form in this deciding ODI tomorrow for Team India. And we'll see what happens in that decider. India winning that first one. New Zealand bouncing back with a great chase in the second one, led by Daryl Mitchell with a fantastic 100. He also got 80 in that first ODI in a losing case. But he is in fine form, and India will want to dismiss him in that decider tomorrow. Lots to play for in this final ODI. And then all focus will go to the T20 series. And that will be 5 T20s. And obviously all focus on that World Cup. Let's take one question here quickly as you look at the fixtures there. There's the 3 ODIs and followed by the 5 T20s with the World Cup in mind. We'll cover that in a minute. Do you see any underdog team making a deep run in the World Cup 2026 for the T20s? That's a good question. I don't quite know, to be honest. Generally, we've seen statistically it doesn't really happen. Maybe sometimes one of them make it to the knockout stages. But let me know what you guys think. Share your thinking down below, and I'll take one or two of you who give me a really good reason for why you think one of the associate teams or less ranked teams might make it to the knockout stages. in the T20 World Cup? Let me know. So team, please pull up a comment or two. For now, I'll talk about the T20 series. Hold on, let's take this one. Shreyas Iyer and Ravi Bishnoi, yes, have been called up. Injury to Tilak Verma and also Washi Sundar. So there is the T20 squad for Team India, captained by Sky Surya Kumar Yadav. Big blow, eh? Tilak Verma has been in fine form in the last while for Team India. I don't quite know, to be honest, what exactly the injury is and how long he will be out for. Is this a permanent replacement for the World Cup, or is it short-term? Hopefully for Team India, it is short-term and he will be back for the World Cup. And the other one is Ravi Bishnoi coming in for Washington Sundar. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's nice to have an extra wrist spinner. We've got Akshar Patel there, finger spinner. So maybe it's not the end of the world for Team India. Kuldeep Yadav also risky, but it's a Chinaman. So Ravi Bishnoi, we know, gives a nice extra angle to that bowling attack. What's your take on this? Yeah, so I sort of already explained that, and that's the beauty of Team India at the moment and Indian cricket. It's just the depth they have. You see Ravi Bishnoi and Shreyas Iyer coming in. It's two really, really outstanding world-class cricketers, and not a lot of international teams can say that. Even a big team like Australia, when they get fringe players in, I've sometimes gone like, who is that coming into the Australian setup? And for Team England as well, sometimes there are names we've never heard of. And once again, it goes back to the IPL, where it's a global tournament. And when a name comes in out of nowhere in the ODI or the Test or the T20 team for Team India, everyone's heard of that name because we know what they've done in the IPL. So it is a great place to be in for Team India, as they have a great depth perception, a great depth in the cricketing talent. All right, so T20 World Cup, that's the focus, guys. So we'll finish the ODI series tomorrow for India and New Zealand, and then all focus for them will be T20 World Cup. And getting all these players in the best possible form going into that World Cup will be absolutely crucial. For Sky, as a captain, it will all be about game plans, role clarification, role definition for each and every player in that team. And more importantly, as I discussed before, about the SA20, it's all about chemistry and finding that 11 that you can trust and having clear roles for them. And the fringe players to understand where they fit in, what kind of conditions they are expected to be called on, and what kind of bowling matchups work best. Is it Bumrah and a Kuldeep Yadav? Who bowl better together? And what kind of rhythm certain bowlers enjoy from which ends, and all those things really play a big role. For Sky also, which bowlers bowl well to shorter boundaries on the leg side versus longer boundaries on the offside, and vice versa as well. All those things will be at the top of his priority list when it comes to this series against New Zealand, to make sure that he fine-tunes that and get the right matchups. Also for batters, right? Making sure you fine-tune and you have the blueprint for your top five. And you can play a little bit around with impact players, someone sliding up to number 3, depending on the power play or which bowlers are out there in the middle, and which batters fancy which kind of bowlers. So just to give you a bit of an analysis as to what goes into being a captain of a T20 side, there's a lot of thinking and how to make up your 20 overs with bat and ball in hand. Definitely not easy. All right, guys, that's enough of that. We'll strap in for tomorrow's ODI series decider, and then there's 5 fantastic T20 internationals to look forward to. There's also the SA20 and plenty of other T20 cricket around the world happening. There's your fixtures list. Different grounds, it's not your usual Mumbai and Bangalore and Delhi. So it's nice to see India, BCCI taking cricket to other parts of India as well. I always love that about cricket, and showing love to all cricket lovers around the world, not only for the big cities and the big stadiums. All right, it's women's cricket, guys. The Women's Premier League is our next topic. RCB in fine form. I'm pretty sure you guys saw the 360 show episode that I released in the week, where I was in touch with the RCB fan army, 3 goals. It was fantastic having them on, and we covered all things Women's Premier League and women's cricket globally and how it's grown over the last while. And we all called out for more teams in the Women's Premier League, and I think we're pretty close to that. We've all seen now this tournament is a success. It's high quality of cricket. It's supported well over there in India. And now I think it's time for at least the 6th team to be announced, hopefully next year. But I do feel they have scope to maybe even go 3 more teams and to take it to 8, to get more of the superstars around the world involved in this wonderful tournament, who I feel has already been a success. It's been great, especially with RCB at the top of the log. Another fine win against the Giants. Sri Lanka getting 5 wickets. There we go, 182. And what I like about this 182 for 7, guys, they got to 7 down, which generally stems the flow and limits your aggressive approach to an innings. But they never did that. The top order failed, and in the middle order, a couple of players chipped in. And then once again at the back of the innings, Nadine de Klerk getting 26 off 12, I think, or 11. No one really stood out with a bat in hand. There was no big 50s or 80s really changing the game and taking the momentum away from opposition. And that generally is a sign of a happy team. When everyone seems to chip in with the bat in hand, a happy batting order. So wonderful performance getting to 182. Difficult always to know when they're 7 down, is it a good score on the night? But then in walks Sri Lanka getting 5 wickets and really blowing the Giants out of the water. 5 for 23, wonderful performance. One of the best in this tournament so far. As we look at some of the other fine bowling performances from Elise Perry, top of the list, the Marizan Cup, and also Asha Subhana. But Sri Lanka, well done, taking RCB to another win. But let's not forget, I think the main reason for this team doing well right now is the chemistry. We've covered this before. Everyone chipping in with a bat in hand. They look like they are happy in the field as well. Everyone chipping in with the ball in hand. Great fielding performance, and all in all, a team that look in fine form right now, and definitely one of the favorites to go on and win this trophy again. Obviously, last year it was Mumbai Indians, but the year before RCB won it, and hopefully they will copy that again. All right, that's Women's Premier League for you guys. As I said, hopefully a few more teams will be announced in the near future. At least one. I'm crying out for at least one, but maybe surprise us with 3 so we can have 8 great teams in the Women's Premier League. All right, retired players. I want to know what you guys think of this. For those of you that watch this, the Sydney Sixers, Steve Smith and Babar Azam. Well, first of all, the retired out rule has been used a lot more often in T20 cricket of late. There we have a list of examples, and it's a tough one, guys. I don't blame the coaches and the managers and the captains taking full advantage of that, but it can, if it's not well communicated within a team, it can cause players to be a bit upset. I'm very sure if I was retired out during my playing days, it would really knock me quite hard. But if it's communicated really well, and if it's not a trend only on one player, then maybe there is a blueprint that you can use. If a player just doesn't get going, he's on 20 off 20 balls, and it's a really important phase of the game where you need a bit of injection of momentum. You have a power hitter sitting in the dugout to use that retired out rule. With the Sydney Sixers the other night, Babar Azam, I think Steve Smith sent him back to make sure he gets the strike. Now, first of all, I will raise my eyebrows thinking, but Steve, you are not much more of a power hitter compared to Babar. But what I do know, because of Kevin Peterson's, I think it's called The Switch, the YouTube channel, we saw Steve Smith actually hitting home runs with a baseball bat in his hand in the Yankee Stadium. And I was surprised with that because I never really saw Steve hitting a lot of sixes during his playing days, especially in the IPL. He was actually one of the players we didn't mind sticking around because we felt like he didn't have the ability to really inject momentum with the batting innings. But I was proven wrong. In this instance, he took the strike. Babar clearly showing that he's a bit upset about it. But then Smudger, which is his nickname, ended up hitting 4 sixes in a row. So method in the madness. And I want to know what you guys think of the retired out rule. I think there is, there is a way that you can use it to your advantage. I think the key word here is communication. It needs to be clearly communicated. It needs to be part of your team meetings. You need to discuss this, guys. It's nothing personal. It's not against you. It's maybe just your night, not your night, to be the one to inject fuel to our cause here. But rather, we get retired out, we get someone in, maybe it's his night. Next game, you have the opportunity again to be the one to inject momentum into our innings. But yeah, I think if it's communicated well, it's fine. I actually sometimes, I promise you, I clearly remember sometimes in IPL games, in World Cups or in ODIs, whatever the case may be, feeling like, you know what, I'm really just not timing the ball tonight. I know I'm capable of doing it, but I'm just not feeling it. And if in that case it was well communicated to me, I would be very happy to go off and send a power hitter, David Miller, in and say, listen, go for it. And a good example of that is when I scored the world record ODI knock, 131 balls at the Wanderers. Before I went out to bat, I actually asked for David Miller to be sent out before me. The coach overruled that. He said, no, I'm still the best for the situation. I took a bit of confidence from that and ran out and played one of the best knocks of my life. So if that can happen before an innings, I feel there is room for that during an innings, and to have that as part of your strategy, as long as it's well communicated. And I think that's what it comes down to. Good homework from the management, and then making that call on the night and communicating that well with the batters, that it's not us picking on you as an individual, but it's more like a team dynamic, team game plan. And it can be any one of the top 6 batters that don't quite feel that flow on the evening to be retired out. We get a power hitter or someone else in who might just feel the flow a bit better, all right? Or actually might match up a certain bowler better. So coming back to my point of that ODI World Cup record score that I played in, I wanted to send David Miller out knowing that Suleiman Ben, the left-arm spinner, still had 3 or 4 overs left. And I wanted David Miller, with Suleiman turning the ball into his pads, to take full advantage of that short boundary and the short boundaries of the Wanderers. And to me, I felt like if I face Suleiman, I would need a little bit of time to get myself in. Where for Miller, he can have complete license and just go crazy. So there's definitely method here, guys. And I mean, as bad as it is for individuals to be subbed off or to be retired out, it is part of the game now. And I think managers will take advantage of that. Sorry, long answer. I hope you get the justice. I'll take a few more questions. Let me just finish off with the last topic here. RCB introducing more AI-enabled cameras, guys. So you can read through this. I'm not going to read through that. You know about what happened there in the past, not so long ago, actually, the disaster we had there. And it's just great to see that they're doing something about it. And I think this is an attempt and them making an effort to make it as safe as possible for crowds, for big crowds coming in, very excited people wanting to see the heroes performing well, wanting to watch them lift the trophy. This is a great effort from RCB, I feel, and hopefully they will do everything possible and get all the clearances that they need to make the Chinnaswamy safe for everyone to go to. And I think it's a cry out to all stadiums around the world, obviously particularly India, where they have huge crowds coming in to watch cricket, but also around the world, to make the stadiums as safe as possible. We've seen things like this happen around the world in different sporting codes, in football matches, in Argentina, for instance. We want to make sport as safe as possible. And on that note, completely different topic, also the ball. In T20 cricket, I saw a couple of instances in the SA20 of the people in the crowd getting hit by the cricket ball. And obviously, there's this fantastic initiative of one-hand catches and you're winning a lot of money. The problem with that is some individuals obscure the view of the people sitting behind them going for the catches. And it's always been the case. So it's got nothing against this great initiative that they've got going in the SA20 of one-hand catches, because it's always happened. People always try and catch balls. But it is definitely dangerous. There's no doubt about it. And people jumping over each other, people try and get through little gates in order to rush to go and watch the heroes, but people can get injured. So RCB making a great move here. And to everyone out there watching live cricket, please be safe. Please be careful. Keep an eye on your children. Keep an eye on the ball. And I know kids want to play cricket on the side of the field, especially on the grass embankments of Centurion Park and at the Wanderers and at Newlands. Most South African grounds have grass embankments. and the kids often don't watch the game, and they play cricket on the side, and a ball on the head can be really dangerous. So keep an eye on the game, be safe through the gates, and please don't get injured. All right, guys, that's the main topics for this week's 360 Live. I'll take a few more questions, and I would love to finish it off on a high. So hopefully good questions. Sir, how is your life going after retiring from international cricket? Life's been good. I'm staying fit. I'm eating well. I'm working hard to also try and be the best dad and husband that I could possibly be. Really enjoying watching my kids grow up, and I'm still busy enough away from home. So quite a few trips to India every year. I will be heading over to India in March and also May month for the IPL, and I think later on in the year around October. I've also got a wonderful event coming up in Dubai where I will be playing a bit of golf. I'm looking forward to that. I will let you guys in on that a bit more in the near future. Just quickly back on that RCB fan army, guys. The ladies are called Labdi, MJ and MB. So I will be collaborating with them soon. So keep an eye out for them. They are wonderful. They love the game of cricket. They've been a RCB fan army since 2008. And now also obviously focusing a bit more on women's cricket, which I love. And I want to dig into that a bit more and find out exactly what women's fans feel when they watch cricket and how they look into the game, because women are a lot different to men. It's the same sport, but a different mindset. And I want to figure out what it is, what that makes them brilliant. And we'll discuss that with the RCB fan army. All right, let's talk a little bit about a different sporting code. The Australian Open coming up. Favorites for the Aussie Open and why? Sasha Zverev hasn't won a Grand Slam yet. Good question, that, Dix. Zverev has been a fantastic player. I think he lacks that X factor. If you look at some of the other best in the world at the moment, probably the top two, obviously not probably, the other top two, Sinner and Alcaraz. Alcaraz, without a doubt, has that X factor. We all know that. He's just got a different gear from a talent point of view and taking the game to the next level. Sinner has got X factor in a way that he hits his ground strokes. He's got a different gear with those flat, powerful ground strokes. Alcaraz chases everything down, a bit more like a Nadal kind of running crazy. But he's also got that extra gear when it comes to ground strokes, serving, volleying, drop shots. I think Zverev just lacks that. When I watch him play, complete player, there's no doubt about it. But there's not one thing in his game where I feel like, oh, wow, that is different. That makes him the best in the world. He'll always be good. He's a consistent player. And on any given day, he can beat an Alcaraz and a Sinner. But I feel Alcaraz and Sinner needs to lack their X factor on the day for Zverev to stand a chance. But there are quite a few other youngsters coming through, which is exciting. And hopefully we'll see one or two of them really stand out over the next few years and give Alcaraz and Sinner a run for their money, as we don't want it to get boring. And on the women's side of things, we have obviously Sabalenka at the top of the game. She will be tough to stop. We've got Swiatek and quite a few other wonderful players making a run at it. So Coco Gauff as well. It's just a very nice tournament to watch always. All the majors in tennis and golf, I always love to watch. Those are the big ones. So we'll see which kind of players are in the finest form going into this major. I will cover a bit more of it closer to the time. Or in the mix of things, actually, halfway through the tournament. All right, one more question, guys, and I will say goodbye for you in this week's live. It's been going on for 39 minutes now, one of my longer lives over the last year or two. I think it's been a year since you went in disguise to watch the SA20 match. Can you share some memories from that day? It was fantastic. It was a beautiful sunny day on the grass embankments with my wife and family, and a couple of people recognized me with my voice, which is absolutely crazy. I think I've got quite an irritating voice sometimes, especially talking for so long. I start feeling like my voice is like echoing in my brain. But it's the weirdest thing. One or two guys came up to me and said, "AB, is it you?" And I'm like, "Please keep it quiet." But yes, it is, because I'm trying out something. I'm trying not to be recognized. And he says, "Your voice gave you away, man." I was ordering something at one of the food stalls there, and he recognized my voice. It was a great experience. It was quite hot having that the beard on, and the thing on my head and the glasses and the moustache and all of that. A little bit uncomfortable, but a great experience nonetheless. And it made for a good laugh, because that's ultimately what it was about. Guys, that's enough. I'm running out of words to say. Thank you very much for joining me on 360 Live on this beautiful Saturday. I'm going to find out what my youngster got up to with his cricket today. Follow me in socials, Facebook, X, and also Instagram. Like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, The 360 Show. I really appreciate all of your love. There's lots of exciting things coming up this year, guys. I just jumped off a Zoom call with something that completely took my breath away. I was speechless looking at some of this technology that will be launching this year. I'm not going to give you anything more than that. But I promise you, you're going to be excited with me. It's going to change the game of cricket and sport possibly around the world. And I'm going to be involved with it. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say for now. Keep a lookout for that. I will share more of the details as soon as it's formalized. All right. Have a wonderful Saturday. I'm quietly excited. I'm going to open up the swimming pool now, and we're going to have a wonderful family Saturday over here in South Africa. Take care, and I'll see you all soon. Bye now.